Good.
Hey guys, TazManiaAhmed here and welcome to Tmacast episode 4 with DM and Jubba. We're back again Sunday night. Here we are. How you guys doing today then?
How's your week been, lads?
Good. Good.
Really?
Yeah, mine's been well. Actually, I'll say into tag. It's been good, but it's been super unproductive. Like I have work to do, and I've basically not done it.
Yeah.
Mostly due to like the heat wave, living life. Why should I suffer? Why should I suffer?
Bro, enjoy your life. Enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Live life to your fullest, innit, as they say, Dan.
But it hasn't been too bad. How about you?
It's calm, man. I went to London yesterday, right? To Southend. Yeah, and I realized like people have literally. It just reminded me how forgetful human beings are. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone was like threatened over coronavirus literally like a few weeks ago, and now it seems like as soon as the deaths have decreased, like with a click of the fingers, everyone's back to normal and no one cares anymore.
For sure.
Like there is 100% going to be a second wave. There's zero doubt about it.
Yeah.
I saw something about China.
No one's even huh?
I saw something about China having a second wave. Does anyone know more about that?
I don't think the
China's got a
state
second
media
wave.
is very reliable.
I think South Korea's got a second wave.
Even Leicester, I saw today, like BBC News, they're thinking about locking up Leicester again because they've had a rise in cases. Yeah.
Mate, I don't mind as long as they open the gyms back up. I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? That's all they need to do.
We want the gyms back. What are my days?
I know, mate. Honestly, gym is so important for people's mental health, and I feel like people will be calm, like with the gyms open. If you like regulate it completely, and like have a set amount of people going in, clean it all down, then it'll be fine. Do you know what I mean?
Well, what's the logic behind having pubs open before having gyms open?
That's the thing. Because people are...
Yeah, but do pubs make more money than gyms? Well, I guess more people will be in pubs than in gyms. So yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, but I think the logic is though the fact that people will go to the gym and they sweat, and however much you wash it, you can never really wash it after. I mean, I guess you can wash it after every single person.
I think the thing to do like
breathing. Yeah.
Yeah, but breathing, I think that's the key thing. So as you're exercising, your breathing will be higher. So I guess there'll be more like perspiration, if you could say that. Just in the air. It's an airborne virus, so if you're breathing more and in the environment.
I think even if you touch the gym equipment as well, like the dumbbells, the bench, whatever, you're touching it with your hands, so easily spread like that as well.
Yeah, you fucked. I mean, how's your home workouts going?
Non-existent, mate.
How about Mr. Ahmed's?
Oh yeah, my dad's.
Oh my god! Hey, your dad's home workouts are so sick.
Oh, he loves it. You
know what the good thing is about them? On a real note, though, the good thing about your dad's workouts, right, is that he actually gives advice to people like Bengalis around his age with diabetes and all that stuff, because people actually need someone like that to give them advice. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Because most of them are just sat at home, innit?
Yeah, exactly. Does he actually work out properly?
No, it's just.
Or is it just for the camera?
That's a secret we compete between ourselves.
Exposed, man.
I started my home workouts again this week, right? And I literally did 4 sets of press ups, and I was like, I'm done. I've called it a day.
Yeah.
I was just so tired. And then the next week after that, my whole body was just aching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what happens. As soon as you go back to it, you ache like crazy. I had similar sort of thing. I had a workout routine, and then the day after, aching all over. Even in areas I didn't think I was actually working out, I just felt pain, lower back, and the strain wasn't good.
No, to be honest, I haven't had that feeling in a while actually. So I feel as though it's been a while since I've had that feeling.
Mate, you may as well come to my house. Everyone just come to my house. We'll do home workout in my garden.
We can next episode, we'll work out whilst chatting.
I don't know if we'll be able to keep up with you, Tarek. You're actually an athlete. Yeah.
Come on, way, mate. No way.
No?
No
you
way.
don't think
so? I'm no athlete, mate. Where'd you get this athlete reference from?
Tarek went from looking like an immigrant taxi driver in year 7 to now looking like the Wolverhampton manager. Absolute beast. What's his name, Tarek?
What's his name?
Nuno
Pico.
Esperanto
Nuno.
Santo, innit? I think I said his name wrong last time.
I have no
Nuno
idea.
Esperanto Santo, I believe.
I want to see how many episodes it takes for Tarek to finally get the name of the manager right.
Have you ever seen him and Tarek in the same room? That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Have you ever seen him and Tarek in the same room?
Yo, do you know what? I
Ooh.
haven't. I really haven't.
Yo, that's a good point. That's a good point you make there as well.
Yeah.
It's alter ego then.
Alter ego, yeah, but like 40 years old.
Rumors are spreading that Nuno Esperanto is actually playing the stunt double for the Bold Hitman.
Ooh.
I don't know if you heard this, but rumors are circulating around the news.
You know what? I think
that
I
in
saw
the new Bold Hitman
is in fact
the
big man himself, Nuno.
What do you think about that, Tarek?
I think it's quite the allegation right there.
Allegation.
Bold Hitman is something that is definitely coming this year, if all goes well. To have such a elite, high-ranking football manager to be associated with, what do we call it, the brand or the franchise? I think it's just great news. And the only way is up from here. That's all I can say.
How's the planning going?
Dan, I think
for the people that just joined this podcast, Tarek and Dan have been building storyboards for the Bold Hitman 2. So how have they been going?
Yeah, it's all right. Trying to let the creative process just flow. We've got like a few themes and thinking about how we're going to develop
character development.
Character development, something like that. And just making sure that it makes sense as a story that's completely like there's no like loose ends and it's just like well tied together. Especially with what we were working with from the first one, the trailer we released, and what we want to do with this one as well. It has been fun writing it up though, to be honest.
It is good fun. Like once you do something that you know is going to happen one day, hopefully, it's quite fun to do. Like you do the storyboard, you do the scripting, there's different settings, so it's good fun. It's good fun.
And when you come up with ideas as well, and it comes together nicely, you're just like, oh, that's a good idea. Write that down. Write that down. I come up with something, Tarek add something else. You write it down. Quick, write it down before you forget.
Write it down before you forget.
Yeah. Things like that. It's really good.
Now, but on a serious note, I think the Bold Hitman 2 planning stage is developing pretty smoothly, I'd say, you know. Me and Dan pretty much finished the story of what's going to happen. We don't want to say right now. No spoilers. But we're progressing nice. And I think next week, we should have another call just to develop a few more ideas.
We'll update the viewers every week on Bold Hitman 2. Tell them how it's going.
And so if you guys haven't watched Bold Hitman 1, please go watch it. Just search the Bold Hitman full movie and you can see me without a beard being the Bold Hitman.
This is like 5 years ago. 5 years. Just at the end of school. So yeah. A little bit of nostalgia for the viewers from Mayfield. If you're from Mayfield and you haven't seen the Bold Hitman,
definitely.
How crazy is it that we filmed that in year 11, and like that literally seems like yesterday, and now we all finished university, man, and Dan's finished his postgrad. That's wild, bro.
Now we're gonna go do it again.
Yeah.
So this time, mate, the equipment, everything, next level now.
Upgrade.
We've got microphones, we've got cameras. This is gonna be a blockbuster.
The people out there are yearning for some entertainment.
They ain't ready, man.
They're just stuck inside.
When that red tie goes on, mate, it's game over.
The Bold Hitman is your alter ego.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. For the Bold Hitman, Jubba, we have a bit of a dilemma. So you know how in the first movie, I wore the woolly hat. This time, do I wear a woolly hat or do I just be bold in it?
I think what you should do is... Sorry, Dan, what did you say?
I said just be bold. Like, look.
Yeah.
Just like
you look harder. Yeah. Go straight bold, straight slap head. Put some shine on it.
Just put some olive oil, yeah? Straight up.
No, well, not olive oil.
What you do...
Yeah, like proper... Yeah, go on.
What you do need to do, though, you need...
Man like Rupak Pun is watching. Big up Rupak Pun. Top guy, absolute legend.
Matt. Do you know what? I saw a poster of Rupak from University of Chichester. Have you seen that? A few months ago. Like there was a huge billboard. I was in Portsmouth South Station, right? There was a huge billboard.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm talking about.
I was like, oh my days.
I remember I was walking because I'll commute to uni, and I was going to the train station. I was on my phone. I look up to put my ticket in, and above I just see a massive picture of Rupak. I was like, "What? That's ridiculous! How have I not known about this until?"
No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
Honestly, that's something. You should Rupak, if you're still there, you should put a claim on that picture and keep it. Like honestly, like in your house.
Yeah, stick somewhere. Up on your wall, innit? That's something you stick up.
No, for real.
We should have Rupak as a guest in this.
Yeah, we should.
We need to catch up with all our Mayfield mates and get everyone on it.
For sure, like I still get like random messages from I got a message today from someone from Mayfield, and it was like, "Oh, hit me up! I haven't seen you in ages. Let's link.
Really? Who was it? Or you're not gonna say names?
I won't say it on here.
Yeah. But we know him, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Rupak wrote start of my modelling career. Vogue coming up. Let's go.
Jeez,
come soon.
No, but going back to that point, Jubba, am I staying bold or am I wearing a hat in the bold hit, man?
What I was about to say, right, is you need to get stacked. Like, you need to start going to the gym and really get, build yourself up.
The gym needs to open again.
Yeah, we need to get you hench, bro.
Yeah. Just do,
Wait, calisthenics. Should I start eating more then? Should I start, eating more? Or what do I do?
Well, Tarek, how many plates of curry do you usually eat?
I'm weighing in at 70 kg at the moment. Do I need to go higher?
I think you need to up your plates of curry from 3 to 6.
You need to get more
your curry intake up.
So increase some calories and just do a few bicep curls here and there.
But make sure that stay clean though. You need to stay clean. No one wants a fat bald head, man. You need to, because that's just.
If there was a fat bald head, man, oh my god.
That already happened though, innit?
Well, when you're 40 and you let it go.
The bald head 5 years ago was fat, I swear.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, he was. He was a bit chubby to be honest.
Yeah, but that was baby fat. That was baby fat. That's not being fat by letting go. That's fat by
16 though back then, mate. I'm sure that's not
it takes a while for people to let go for some people, you know.
Fair enough.
Sometimes the baby fat clings, you know.
Talking about fat, how's your 5K going?
I'm getting worse. Like in terms of weight, I'm going the opposite direction of what I want to go to.
What do you mean?
Try and get so much. My ideal weight, the weight I was going for was 83 kg. Try and guess what I'm at now.
That's quite light, though, right?
Yeah, it's a good height. It's a good weight for my height.
It's good. Okay, so what are you at now? Well, let me guess. Are you at 8?
90 is a good guess. What would you say, Jube?
I'll say 90.
I heard an 8 coming out first, though. He's changed his number.
You say 98? 98? No. 93. 93.
I was close.
Wow.
I was one off.
Yeah. It was like 93.5 last time I checked. But yeah, completely opposite direction of what I want to go. And I'm reaching a point where I'm just like, I'm eating well. I like the food that I eat. I'm working out as well. I feel healthy. So why should I try and reach some kind of weight goal that has no real meaning to me right now? You know what I mean?
You need to find the why. Do you know what I mean? Why are you doing it?
Oh, that's
why.
That's true.
I'm saying this, yeah. If you're in lockdown and you're not working out that much, and you can do these home workouts, I know for a fact you're the type of guy, right? You can gain muscle really easily. So I just think you should spend this time to get fucking stacked.
That's where I'm at now.
Gain weight instead.
That's where I'm at now. So, because what I really want to do is after lockdown, I've always, for the longest, I want to start swimming. So I'm gonna try and do what I can to still work out, still try and be healthy, and do what I can in terms of body development. But as soon as I come out, I want to try and hit the pools or do HIIT training. HIIT training is something my brother's been telling me about that I should get onto a lot more. They have this thing called Tabata. Do you know Tabata training?
No.
Tabata? Is it no? Tell me, what is it?
You do 20 seconds, 90 to 100% workout. So sprints or burpees, just going at it straight, 20 seconds, I think. And then you have 10 seconds rest. and you do that for like 7 rounds.
Is it like CrossFit?
I don't think it's cross. You probably could do it with CrossFit, but I think it's just like a training philosophy or something.
Yeah, sounds like a lot. So, of effort, man. Not gonna lie.
Do you remember we did that? We did calisthenics for a little bit, right? There was this app called DenX, and they'll give you calisthenics workouts, and like there'll be workouts like that. So you do loads of different exercises in a circuit. Like it mixes weights and cardio. All my days, like it's literally the hard. It really is, but it really does get you fit though. No doubt about it.
You're saying
really
it does. You're saying it does. Yeah.
It does. Yeah. It does both as well. Like it gets you like more like muscularly defined, but it also makes you lose weight. Do you know what I mean? It's perfect for people like you.
Yeah. So I'm not at the stage of I'm not letting myself go yet. Emphasis on the yet. But yeah, it's a bit sticky. Like for you, how have you found? So you say you started weights again? Oh, you started working out again?
Yeah. So like it was basically lockdown was like started like 6 weeks before Ramadan. So I'd work out before Ramadan, and then during Ramadan I just quit, and then from then on I just didn't work out. So I took like a 2-month rest, and then only from this Monday did I start working out again. And now my body is like proper aching. But do you know what? When you like work out, it takes like a couple of weeks to get back into it, and then you feel good. So, but do you know what? During this lockdown, man, like
it's like a relationship for your life. Like you gotta be consistent with it, or
exactly.
If you lose 4 weeks, you lose like 6 months worth of progress or something.
That's true. And that ratio will get worse as you get older as well. So while we're young.
And Dan, you mentioned something earlier as well about letting yourself go. Like, what age do you think that's a good?
That's a difficult question. What age?
Like you know, there's like different people let themselves go at different ages. You know, some people let them go when they're married, like when they're 40. What's a good age, mate? Like, if I wanted to, I could let myself go right now as well.
Yeah, but what do you mean by letting yourself go? As in, like,
there's never a good age to let yourself go. Like you need to always be on top of your fitness, because otherwise it leads to disastrous consequences. Do you know what? I was listening to this. Have you listened to the Kevin Hart and Joe Rogan podcast?
No. They have a podcast together, or it's still? They have a podcast. It's just Kevin Hart.
They have an episode together.
No.
Yeah. So Kevin Hart was talking about the fact, right? Like he had a car crash, and he said they literally broke his back, but the doctor said to him, because you've worked out your core to make it really strong and your back to make it really strong, it would have been if your disc slipped like an inch more, then he would have been paralyzed for the rest of your life. But it's because he was so fit and he worked out so much that it saved his life. So like that really opened my eyes. I was like, damn, like this stuff isn't just to like look good, but it's genuinely gonna save your life. And you never know when you're gonna need it. And I was like, oh man, that's so important.
Yeah, man, like it's small margins like that.
Yeah.
That's all those small benefits, uncountable benefits that you can get from being in good shape. It's really one of the best things you can do for yourself.
So there's no good age to let yourself go. I think the moral way we can get to is that keep yourself in shape, because you never know when it may come in handy.
I guess by letting myself go, maybe a sense of what intensity do I want to still go at from now, tomorrow, and on from there. Because if I take the example, my dad, he's 56, he's 54, 55, 56, and he still goes like 5K runs, like 4 times a week. I have zero excuse. I have zero at 20 or whatever, 22. Yeah, who cares? I'm 22. I have zero excuse to be like, I can't go for runs. I can't be asked to do it. Like, when my dad is in his 50s, you're still going at it like hard. Like I can't be doing that.
But I feel as though your career's already peaked down. Like when you're in year 10 in rugby.
Wow. My career has peaked.
Recruited for what was it? Portsmouth Grammar School, isn't it? For their rugby team or something. I can't remember the exact story. But you peaked back then, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
No. I'm still young. I'm still young. And plus, I have been thinking about doing things like competitions, like some sort of like fitness, like not like Ironman. I need to do research on it, but things like fitness stuff that I can find. A hobby, yes, a challenge, something in between, something like that to keep myself driving, keep myself keep that drive, keep myself sharp as well.
But would you say your year 10 Dan would beat current Dan in a race? I'd think so, right?
Yeah, not year 10, year 11.
Year 11, year 10.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I've gone heavier, but the thing is, it's not like a lot of my mass. I think I've got like dense mass, because if you were to look at me, you wouldn't think I'd be as heavy as I am.
Because you got the height as well. That's why.
Yeah, but still, like, there's a lot of guys at the same height as me that are weigh a lot less. But then again, it's the opposite way. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the height doesn't really matter that much, does it? Just like the example a few weeks ago when I checked you out. Like when you go against someone and you like, and you grapple with someone, height doesn't really matter. What really matters is the skill and the heart, right?
Yeah.
So like, when I checked you out and you nearly tapped out, I was like, I have some mercy on him.
Yeah, it's because you had the heart. You had the heart. The heart. That
compassion. That compassion.
That's it.
Look, if you want a rematch, we'll film it and put it on TazManiaAhmed right now.
This guy, ever since
I'll train for a few months, and we'll do it.
I've got you, don't worry.
Ever since I was attacked by 2 people, and I wrestled myself out of it. This guy just been scheming in his mind how he's gonna come back. He's been training his grapples, how he's gonna like flip around and like a counter to a counter to another counter. He's just been scheming, thinking about that one day where he's gonna finally take me down.
Look, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I just have to say that I dominated you in a grappling match, and we need to have the rematch soon, just to prove again, because you're doubting what happened. So we need to.
The crazy part about your illusion is the fact that we have video. We have a video. You can't say anything.
Show me the video. Show me the video.
I will show you the video. It is
show me the video. I have a video of me choking you out. That's it.
Oh.
I don't have the video of you getting out of it and what.
Did you crop it? You cropped it.
I didn't crop it. You cropped
it to the first.
Tarek knows how digitally illiterate I am. I don't know how to crop.
In it.
What's crop?
He's illiterate.
Yeah, illiterate in more than one way. Because obviously your memory is a bit Your memory, You don't remember things.
Dan, I don't know why you're getting so angry. That's the thing. Like, why you like?
I'm calm. I'm calm. I've got my sparkling water. So all the people who hate on sparkling water, you don't know nothing.
Anyone who drinks sparkling water, any of Tarek's subscribers that drink sparkling water, comment down below.
Yeah, you can actually comment live on the chat.
You hear that? That was silence. That was silence. That means there was no one.
I don't think it's because there's not. Let me not.
No one is going to comment down below saying I drink sparkling water. The only person that drinks sparkling water is Dan, and that's because he's like 65 years old.
Yeah, but that's like saying if there's any viewers from Mongolia watching the video right now, comment down below. Yeah, but that's my point. There's no one from Mongolia. So
I wish there was someone watching from Mongolia.
No, that's a false. Admit. Oh yeah, that'd be sick if there was someone from Mongolia.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah, but God, that's a false what? Prove me. Yeah, the meeting has been upgraded, but
Zoom.
That's not the same thing. Because
an assist.
There's no time limit. It's fine.
I think Zoom's extended our. Our meeting again.
Well, has it been 40
because everyone drinks straight water and no one has sparkling water, so it's fine.
What did you say?
He's coming.
No one drinks sparkling water, but everyone drinks normal water. So anyone who wants carbonated water is just like
Well, it's not no one.
It's
not no one. There are people. We're marginalized. We are out there because obviously, if there's a market for it as well, why else would you sell sparkling water if people don't want it?
I've got a question then. Do you think there's like taps somewhere which like give out sparkling water instead of normal water? Like normal house
what do you
taps? Like in your kitchen? Do you think there's taps?
I mean, these days you can get taps for anything. You can get taps, right, that just get out boiling water.
Like for me to say that doesn't exist, I'd need to know a lot about taps to make. I don't think I know enough about taps. Yeah, I don't know enough. Maybe like Jubba says, like those like boiling straight to boiling water taps. So if things like that exist, bicarbonate, freaking taps, yeah, why not? Or carbonated taps, why not?
This is the A-Star entertainment that Tari's Reels come for when people start talking about taps.
Taps of sparkling water.
Different types of water that come out of taps.
Actually, that reminds me. I was gonna ask you guys. I saw something recently on Instagram. One of these like well, I don't use like woke, but it was really enlightening about the whole situation right now in terms of retail, the coronavirus, and Bangladesh. So the situation about major retailers having made orders or cancelling orders, even though the products have already been manufactured. And I think the focus is on Bangladesh. Those orders by these big businesses have been cancelled, and now there's a whole like supply chain cut off thing where it's like people are not receiving the finances or. Why you guys?
Really read up about, but I saw like I think Kylie Jenner and them, they got a lot of stick on Instagram for like not paying the workers in Bangladesh, but I didn't really research on the topic, so I can't comment on it.
I did zero research, but I'm gonna comment. Basically, right, like these Bangladeshi workers, they do all this work, and then the most messed up thing is, right, is that you have to understand these Bangladeshi workers, they earn like nothing. Like these people earn like a few a day, literally nothing, and that's their only livelihood. Especially if you put on top of that coronavirus, like there, like in Bangladesh, there keeps being new ways. Like my mom keeps telling me, like in Bangladesh, there's new ways coming up all the time, and it's not like the UK where the viruses are coming down; it's increasing quite heavily, right? So that's making the life harder for people there. And then when you like don't pay these people, it just leads to disastrous. Like it's for sure going to lead to people starving. It's going to lead to like people eventually dying because of it. Like that sounds like quite dramatic, but that's the actual truth.
The potential.
And like these companies, these big companies, they need to really take like responsibility for what they're doing, man. Because like they just discount the fact that these people are real people, and that's why there's so much backlash on Kylie Jenner and Cardi B, because I think they own, I'm not too sure, but I think they own like clothing companies which and like it's not just clothes, it's like other companies which they own, which pay workers, right? And they're not paying them anything. So, it's messed up.
Don't pay them. Like, even if you give like $1 or whatever, it's like 100 Bangladeshi tekha, which is quite a lot.
These guys are billionaires as well.
It's the greed.
Yeah, do you know what? I went to Bangladesh, right? And I used to work in Jack Hall's 2 days a week. And I used to get more working in Jack Hall's 2 days a week than a teacher got throughout the whole year working full-time in Bangladesh. So, like, even if you were to work 2 days a week in retail in the UK, you'll get the job of a real profession in Bangladesh. Like, that's how, like, the discrepancy between income. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
It's a really bad situation. I don't know why they don't do it. I don't know why they don't pay. Like, it's just...
It's because people are so... It's in this day and age, man, people are just aren't conscious of the impact that they're having on other people. And people are, like, so, like, strict with their money. They don't want to give it away. Do you know what I mean? They only give it, like, they only give it away when they have a lot. But the coronavirus, in times of crisis, right, it shows when people are really true to what they say. Like, companies who are... It's like a good litmus test to really understand a company's true values. Yeah. Because if they really are who they think they are, if they really say like, oh, we care about who they say they are, like if they say like, oh, we care about like diversity or we care about helping the poor, like these values that all these companies have. The litmus test is during crisis, do they fulfill these objectives? And if they don't, then I think nowadays consumers are being more conscious of what businesses they buy and sell from. So nowadays, if they don't, then people look at them in a bad eye.
And they need to be held accountable.
They need to be held accountable for sure, because they have a responsibility.
But I feel it's
where the phrase corporate social responsibility comes from.
Like they might just do it for a good PR.
What?
Do what?
In like times of crisis, they might just show that they're helping people just To improve
But it doesn't
their
matter if they're doing it for PR as long as they're doing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think in times like this, like intention really doesn't matter, to be honest. As long as you're doing something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you stick by it. Like you saw a lot of companies. You remember Sports Direct? The first, like coronavirus first happened, and then Sports Direct were like, "Yeah, we're not paying the employees." And I think they even opened. They kept one of their shops, like a few of their shops open.
The shops open because they wanted to classify their assistants, the sales assistants, as key workers. They were classifying sales assistants as key workers as a way to keep their stores open. And the only reason why they did a U-turn is because of the public outcry.
Dan actually used to work at Sports Direct, didn't it? How was your experiences there, Dan? Did you enjoy it or?
Whack.
I
would say it was something that got me started straight out of school, part-time while doing my A-levels. So it got me. I can't say that I didn't get anything out of it. Yeah. I learned how to just put my head down, work.
Yeah. I even had an interview once. You remember that?
You actually did you have?
I had the job. Yeah, I had the job.
Did you have a shift though?
I think I had one.
I think you having a shift.
Yeah. But then I had another job. I think I got a job somewhere.
Yeah, you went to bench,
wasn't it? Yeah, bench.
Bench.
Good times, man. Good times.
What was your experience like at bench?
Oh man, I loved it. It was great fun, you know. It's the first time working like the retail environment, so it was good to learn about how the different procedures go into place in terms of putting up the clothes, the tags, and just like basic skills in terms of changing rooms, how to interact with customers, the till, all that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, I had my good moments in bench, as Jubba can testify to.
I mean, I would testify to the fact that the real reason that Tarek likes to work at bench is because he stood there and did nothing. And that's why eventually bench closed down, because they had zero customers. Because he has zero customers. He'd walk into bench, Tarek would just be sitting there, someone's getting his phone out, play Pokemon Go. I don't know what he was doing. But, he wasn't doing anything. Do you know what I mean? That's why he really liked the job. And then eventually the shop closed down and he went off to London. But bench was a calm shop.
Bench was calm. What were your managers like?
I in my whole life, right, I've only had really good managers. I've never experienced a bad manager. I'm really grateful for that as well. Like I've never had all my managers in my life, whether it's been in retail or in a professional work environment in like finance, they've all been women and they've all been like the best managers ever. They've been like really nurturing. They were really easy to speak to, and they were just great.
That might be a testament to the managers. It could also be a testament to your mindset towards the managers as well, and how you position yourself within the work environment. Because
maybe, yeah.
I would say for me, regardless of the manager, there'll always be some people that would hate their guts. And there'll be people that love them as well. And I think for me, I always like, I'll try to take like a step back approach to try and see what's this person's deal, what's this person's deal, and why do they have completely different viewpoints of the same person. So I think the fact that you've able to have good relationships with managers, that's a good thing.
Do you know what it is as well?
Because in The Wire, there's always a prisoner's dilemma. So whoever you meet in life, they'll always have some kind of like issue going on, and the way you treat you could be because of something else. So you just gotta bide your time and figure it out, and then you move. Like, what's that guy's name in The Wire again?
I need to watch this.
What's his name, Jubba? Avon Barksdale.
Which one?
Avon Barksdale.
The big Don.
Yeah, the big Don. Avon.
Avon Barksdale. Yeah. That's the thing. You can't judge someone from other people's opinion of them. You need to judge them from your own perspective.
Mm-hmm.
There's a hadith, right, that the Prophet Muhammad said, and he said, a person who simply repeats everything that has been said to them has already done enough wrong. So by that, he means like, don't just repeat everything that has been said to you. Like, see for yourself, experience the person for yourself, and trust your own intuition as to who that person is. I think what also helps though is the fact that like in work, especially in retail, you get a lot of people gossiping. and like talking about each other behind each other's backs.
That's really
And like I've never been, and like that people love it because like it's enjoyable. They get like a buzz from it. But like I've been the type of person. I think we all are. I think all three of us are the type of people that like. I mean, we don't really care about gossip at all. Do you know what I mean? There's just no place for it.
Yeah.
And the only thing that it leads to is like disharmony, and that's it. You know, the gain that you get from gossiping is a lot smaller than the drawbacks that happens from it.
It's the shaitan, innit? It's just whispering in your ear, like just keep chatting away about this person, innit? It gives you that temptation inside it.
Yeah, exactly. But it just all stems from, you know, it just all stems from bad traits of a human being when they start gossiping from someone. Like there's in defects. Like I'm reading this book, right, on the spiritual defects of the heart. It's called the purification of the heart. I would show you guys, but it's literally under my phone. Yeah. But like he talks about the fact that envy is the root of all issues. Like envy leads to vanity, it leads to arrogance, it leads to a lack of self-worth, it leads to like all of the bad traits that a human being has. It all stems from envy. And like when you have envy on someone, that's what it is.
Is that what it is?
Envy is jealousy, yeah.
Is it in a sense of envy? So is that like hating someone because they have something that you don't have?
Basically, yeah.
Is that encompassed within envy, or is that envy itself?
Envy is that's what envy is. So you have this like emotion where you feel like you don't want that person to have the blessings that he's had, and you want more blessings on your life. But the reason why it's so wrong is because the blessings that everyone has is already been decreed by Allah. So it's already been decreed by God. So in a sense, envy is something that you're denying. You're basically angry at God. You're not angry at yourself or the person. You're angry at God for getting the blessing. Yeah, exactly. And it's a form of ingratitude. So I mean, thing is though, everyone has envy. You know, everyone has like that voice in the back of their mind that's like, oh, I wish I had this. But like when you silence that voice, it slowly quietens down. Yeah. And the book actually recommends, right, if you're envious towards anyone, like pray for them. Do you know what I mean? Like do the opposite of what your intuition is telling you to do. Usually when someone's envious of someone, they want to backbite, or they want to like speak about them negatively, or they want to hold them back. But like if you do the opposite and praise him and bless him, and then that means Allah will give you more as well. So like it actually says do the opposite.
I guess the key thing with envy is the fact that it's rooted in hatred. So you can see another person and desire what they have, and you can take one approach in trying to still desire what they have in a positive attitude, as in like, I want this for myself, but I won't tear this person down to get it, or the opposite.
Exactly.
What would be like the positive opposite of envy?
But I think for like envy, another point you could make is like one of like the first ever crimes that human beings ever commit. Well, when the universe was created, was when Adam was created, and Iblis, Satan himself, he was there, and because he was made of fire and Adam was made out of clay, he didn't want to bow down to him. So then he was like, nah, I ain't doing this, mate. I'm made of fire, I'm better than him. And that's why God chucked him out. So
that's exactly why envy is the root of all short forms of. If you have envy and you like, and you harvest that
and all that stuff.
Envy, that's where all the bad stuff comes out from. Also, the fact is though, right? Like envy is like this emotion that people have, and there's this word called caprice. Do you know what caprice means?
Capri-Sun.
Not Capri-Sun. It's not Capri-Sun.
Bro.
I'm gonna clip this moment after. Time's up at 38 minutes.
Capri-Sun. The fact that he didn't even think about it, just came out like bang, Capri-Sun. Like that connection was just straight up.
Do you remember when Tariq's mum will give him Capri-Suns every lunchtime? Like you'd always have like the same snack.
I remember he would get Maryland cookies and sell them to me for 20p. 5p.
What did she say?
Oh, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about my dealings to you.
Yeah.
In school.
But before we go on to your dodgy dealings at school, right, I want to finish my point.
Yeah, finish your point.
Caprice is basically the definition in English. Is like an unaccountable change in mood. So know when like in your mind you have these like changes in your like inner state, like in your intuitions and like your moods and that, like you like things that you dislike in yourself. But then a lot of people don't realize that they dislike it and they act towards their passions and their whims. And that's what caprice is, when you act towards your intuitive negative attributes, if that makes sense.
So
Is
it's
it-
going
is it-
towards your desire.
So no, if you harbor a feeling of envy, for example, that's your natural caprice.
Yeah.
That's your natural mood, and then you act towards it. And because you're not really thinking about that envy, you're just acting towards that passion of envy. That's what caprice means. Another word, this is interesting there. Another word in Arabic, a word for caprice is hawa, right? And hawa in Arabic, hawa,
Ah.
Hawa in English, right? Hawa in Arabic also means wind, right? So
What
it's
does it mean? Wid.
wind, yeah.
Wind.
So like
W-I-N-D.
yeah. So the significance of that is like you don't see wind, but it takes you in a certain direction. Do you know what I mean? Your caprice takes you towards your passions and away from the truth.
Oh, we got
That's what Hawaii is.
Opie in the building. Dan's head looks like a brown egg. Big up Opie in Atlanta. Real G from
Big up
episode
OP.
2.
I never met him.
You know what? I think white eggs are an American thing. Have you guys ever seen a white egg in the UK?
Yeah.
I was gonna say surely
Sure I
all.
have.
Most,
White egg?
what is it's like rare.
I think they
most-
are more prevalent in the United States though. Like in the United States, you don't get brown.
Oh, yeah, you
Huh?
have
like
been in
all
the
the-
American,
when I was there.
USA as well, innit? Yeah, you might as well talk
Sorry?
from it. You've been to the USA, so you might as well talk from experience.
Like all the
Maryland.
like to Dan's point, they are white.
Maryland
They're white.
cookies.
Yeah, Maryland cookies, man.
Oh, that reminds me. We have to talk about the dealings after.
Yeah. What point? Because we've gone on a few different avenues.
Yeah.
So,
We need a quick mention about my 50p. Was it 50p I used to charge you, Dan?
no, it was either 20p or 5p. One of those two. I can't
I
remember.
don't think it was 5p.
I think it was
That's too
5p.
low for me.
Oh,
You
remember.
Well, you need those profit margins. It's all about the profit margins. Yeah.
Do you know the messed up thing was? Do you know what really annoyed me, right? Is the fact that Terry, like, bruv, it used to be 20p. he used to fret about not having like 20p. Like, it used to drive me nuts. Like he literally like look in his pocket and be like, you know exactly how much money he had.
Oh,
Like if he was losing something. Huh?
Who are you talking about?
He had that one pocket. I don't know where that pocket came from. He had that one pocket with all the change. He never fucking
it was like a
never
bot.
did, like every day he'd have that pocket for the change. I'm
Oh,
like,
me,
Terry,
me,
Man had like thousands of 20p's in there. I don't know how he
Yeah.
contained them.
Wait, who are you chatting about? Me or Dan?
You.
I'm chatting about you.
Oh yeah, I remember in the blazer I had that little zip. It was my freaking kill in there, mate.
Actually bought
I had
them.
everything you needed. 5p's,
Oh my
10p's.
days.
But that was good though. First signs of like
But
entrepreneurial.
to be fair, Dan, I got a question. Like, after all these years, I don't understand why you bought those cookies from me, mate.
Support the business. You know, you need to show support.
Yeah. Support Bain businesses.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly,
Come on.
exactly.
Day
From day one.
one.
Oh my days, that's funny.
Like, did you guys see Black Pound Day?
Who?
Black Pound Day.
I saw a post saying Black Pound Day, but what does it mean?
I think it was on Saturday. it was basically like a day, the first one where it was a day to support Black-owned businesses. So just buy something from a Black-owned business. If you want to be featured by the organization, take a picture of the product, the receipt, and they'll feature or something. But it's sort of like an initiative to really start a movement towards supporting Black businesses.
I think
And I
I
was
saw
like-
that on I'm Just Bait, to be fair. I think he posted some people's businesses and screenshots on his story. So I do recall seeing it.
Yeah. So like my experience with it, because I'm all about supporting Black businesses. And when I was when I went for that walk during the heat wave, my brother asked me to go to that. There's a shop down Fawcett Road, Africa shop. It's an African-owned business, and the thing is,
What's it called?
the experience I had in there made me realize, okay, if we're going to be doing this support black businesses thing, we need to really support the businesses that are excellent instead of just investing just for investment's sake. If that makes sense. I won't try to come off too controversial, but I think the main thing that we should really try and support is black excellence. Make sure that that's like the forefront of our support, and then we can work on bringing everyone else within the encompassing features of black business up to the same standard of black excellence.
What is black excellence? Just if anyone doesn't know, they know.
Right, excellence that is black. That is black excellence. Like let's say someone that's doing very well. For a business, it'll be like if you're the top of your field, or I'm not saying business, but top of your field, and your skin tone is of a darker shade. That's black excellence.
Perfect.
Yeah. You know what, right? Like that's a really good point you made, but like it is like really important to support black businesses. Sure. And it's important to support businesses of your own ethnic minority, because there's this man called Chamath Palihapitiya, right? And he's a venture capitalist. And he's basically did this interview. He's a really interesting guy to talk to. I'd recommend everyone to listen to him, because he just says the complete truth. And he was like, look, if you guys want to change the world, you need to have the resources and the economy to do it. Like no matter what you think, the truth is, right, you need to really have your opinion in this world, and to really put forth what you think this world should be like in the future. You need to have capital, and you need to have money, and you need to be in positions of power, because that's just how the world works. We live in a capital system, right? So you need to have the money in your hands so you can invest in the projects that you want to invest in and make the social changes that you want to see. So that's why it's so important to like back to that Kylie Jenner and the garment business point, and to Dan's point, it's important to always like push forward these black-owned businesses, these ethnic businesses,
any local business,
your own ethnic minorities, to push them up. So because you need to push all of these places up. So at the end of the day, it turns out to be a better society. It's really important, man. Like money is extremely important, whether we like it or not. Like obviously, it's like a needed evil. Like money's there, right? So we need to make the most of it. Like we can't just say it's bad and discount the fact that it's really important. We need to like really get our hold on it and like understand its importance, so we can make the change. Because the thing is, if you don't want it to be at the hands of the bad people. You know what I mean? You don't want money to be at the hands of bad people who aren't going to make good social change. So you need it at the hands of the good people, and we all need to take personal responsibility to that. Saying that, I'm still unemployed.
Huh?
Quick point, we just got a few more comments on the stream. I'll just read them out. A comeback and a brown egg talking, 2020 crazy man. Brown egg preaching black excellence. Damn, you're preaching. He's talking about Dan Penner. Do you know who that is? Dan Penner?
Who?
Dan Penner.
Dan Pena.
Yeah, Dan Pena. He says, want to change the effing world, you need money. And then OP writes, money doesn't exist though.
It's a social construct.
Yeah.
But with you were saying we are living in like a capitalist order. What are your thoughts of the rise of China?
Well, Dad, before you say that though, I just want to make one more point.
I was about to take us completely left field, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, but in terms of the money point, right? Like he was saying that money doesn't really mean anything, but like that's kind of true, because like I was listening to this interview, right? It was this lady called Dr. Jamila Mahmood, and she was an advisor to the Malaysian Prime Minister, I think Malaysia, right? And she was saying, look, the fact that the economy's gone downhill, the fact that the coronavirus is taking a hold of the whole economy and the whole global economies, it's not a shock.
Yeah.
Like we've been like this global economy and how like the 21st century capitalist machine works is that we just rely on inorganic growth, and we just need to get this fast growth using interest rates, and it's not real growth. Like people's incomes aren't actually rising. It's just the people at the top whose incomes are getting bigger. and there's not real growth. So the way you get real growth, and so this crash is not a shock at all. So she was saying because this coronavirus is a good thing about it is that it allows the economy to reset. So now when we grow, we need to understand we need to get real growth and not fast growth.
This makes a good point, because I'm not sure if you saw my point, the post I sent you the other day, Jubba, about the British pound, and how, if I'll just read it here, it says, the British pound since 1800 to 2020 has dropped in value by 8,331%. Which just really sums up what you were saying, Jubba. And just a quick update from OP says, only 2 to 3% of it's real. The rest is digital and can honestly be taken away from a delete button, really. That's a good point.
Wow.
Carry on. If you were to delete all money that exists today, we would go back to what is it? Butter currency?
Gold coins and silver coins they used to do.
Or even I have a laptop. Can I trade it for your?
Yeah, bartered. Yeah.
Oh, we've also got another guest. Quick, big boy Hassan Rahman is here. Man like Hassan Rahman, absolute OG.
Hassan, I want to knock on your door and play knock door don't run. What are you knocking on the door for? No, do you know what? Back to the economy, money isn't completely false though, because the reason why it has value is because the American dollar is the world's reserve currency. So the reason that the Americans can almost be comfortable in debt is because all of these other countries want American dollars. They want to have their reserves, because if the economy crashes, the American dollar is the universal value of money. So it's this shared delusion that people have.
Yeah,
which is a delusion, but it works because if everyone believes in it, then it's fine.
Yeah, how long do you think it's going to last? I don't think it's going to last forever. It
can't last
forever. These systems do not last.
Yeah, because I think the delusion was based on the fact of some of gold. I don't know if you know.
It used to be on gold, but then they put it on. It was the Bretton Woods system, right? Mm-hmm. And they freely put it on the exchange market so people can trade. And it's based on the free market now. Right. And it works. I mean, it works,
Oh, we've also got another guest, mate. We've got big boy Shadzudin, mate. Man like Shaddad from school as well. Top guy. Come on.
Thanks, Shout out,
this is quite sick doing a live stream, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's actually better because you get comments.
You get live interaction.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. If anyone watching the live stream has any questions, put them down below. Let us know.
Any questions? Yeah, go for it.
But with the current order that's set up, China, it has its economic policies with capitalist sprinklings on it. Do you feel like the current financial system order that we have set up will shift in any way, good or bad, with the rise of China in its global footing?
I feel
do you know what? China.
A global. Wow, wait, there's beef going on in the chat. He called you a prick, Jubba.
You can't do anything.
I take back my comment about live streams being good. I don't like it.
Just like that.
It's okay you uploading it and I get hate from that, but getting live hate is crazy.
Yeah, damn.
Is there any way you can kick him out?
I don't think I can.
Can you not?
The viewers hold the power. The viewers hold the power in this relationship. But yeah, you're going to say, Jude.
But yeah, I mean, inevitably, China are going to probably take over, whether we like it or not. Just because, their sole goal, they don't have any, their sole goal is to take over the world. And that's they have tunnel vision. Do you know what I mean? The Western world, although we need to increase our economy, we have loads of other issues. But it feels like China just don't give a fuck. They will take out anyone if just to be at the top.
They've been pressuring India as well on the border. I've seen as well. So
exactly, and the fact that they're a communist country means that no one can question it. They use the coronavirus as a time to really take a hold of Hong Kong. Do you know what I mean? They've taken advantage of coronavirus to really take power in Hong Kong.
I haven't seen anything about the riots since the virus started. Since like the actual massive.
It's messed up, man. At times of crisis, the smart thing, but I guess like messed up thing that countries do is they use it to really, take control of power. So that's what they do. I mean, China. I heard a story the other day. China's trying to change because obviously they got that Muslim concentration camp.
Oh, like the Bible and the Quran, like they're trying to change it.
Yeah, mental, man.
That's actually mental. And just quick point, Shadab, bro. Wow, you were actually too salty, bro. Take the banter laughing emoji.
I didn't even say anything about Shadab. I literally said nothing.
I swear there's always ongoing beef between you two.
Mate, I don't know where this beef comes from.
It's been happening since school, you know.
But Dad, do you remember when Shad's punched you in the face?
Shut up, do you remember that? Comment if you do.
Comment.
Nah, no shut up since me, Tarek, Shadab and I since
year seven.
Fine, bro.
First day. I remember first day. I think I was sat next to Shadab. Well, all three of us were sat on the same table at some point, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think in English. I remember Miss Mossop. Do you remember?
Well, that's it. I was trying to remember her name a while back. I could not remember. Miss Mossop. Oh, yeah, I remember.
That's the name.
For some reason, every single year 7 English teacher is just like different level to every other teaching experience you can ever have. Like, honestly.
It's because you're fresh in and then you come in. And then another quick point by OP's wrote in, China will take over. They're slowly but surely taking over a lot of third world countries. Prime examples, African countries go to them for loans to build infrastructure and they come in and slowly take over.
On that point, my country, Zambia, China, it's a difficult situation because they're offering to build up the country, but Zambia isn't able to pay them back directly. So instead of paying them back straight up, capital or whatever, the money, China, what they're starting to do is to take ownership of national assets. Like for example, they now own like the national airport. They own like the national radio show.
China in Zambia.
China owns things in Zambia, so it's concerning. But I saw, on the other hand, I saw a really interesting post on Twitter from he's a black man that I respect. He's from America. I respect him a lot. But he said, if in the current order, like world order, our group is marginalized and is at the bottom, what is there to lose if a different order is made, or if a different global system is created in which the current head isn't there anymore, or a new head has taken the reins?
So you're saying, what's the issue with China taking over?
But potentially, but it could be, what's the issue of anyone else taking over? If the current situation is so bad for us, then why should we be so concerned? If
bad for who?
But bad for the marginalized, bad for the people that are already at the bottom. So it could be a case. So, for example, if the people that do come in are worse than those who are there right now, then that's how it gets worse. But on the other hand, I think he's trying to say, let's be open with working with China and actually building something that's better than what we currently have.
Quick point. We have another comment by Shadab. He's written, we had a lot of good memories in school. You did say you would kick me out of the chat for that comment. So how did you not say anything? And you make up fake Islamic statements. Get your facts right.
What fake Islamic statements?
I'm not sure which one he said Shadab. So you should comment that as well.
Oh, it's that. Is that? Nah, let me not go there.
Which one?
I was gonna say that dyeing your hair.
That was last episode though.
Yeah.
I doubt you saw that, but I can't remember what Jubba said in this one.
Yeah, I don't know what I said wrong.
Well,
back to China though, right? Basically, like the issue is because Western values don't coincide with Chinese values. because China, a communist country, right? And they got like the power all goes up to one state, and if that one state takes over the whole world, then you're fucked. And when you're like when you're within the grasp, when you're under the control of China because they're funding you, then the whole situation is done. Because even if you don't believe in what they're doing, they basically own you because they invested. And it's literally puppets. Yeah, exactly. So that's the issue here. And do you know what coronavirus is like really exposed in the global economy, right? It shows that globalization, there's massive drawbacks to it. Like the big change that's going to happen because of the coronavirus is that people are going to see that we need to be more nationalized rather than globalized, because this interconnected society that we have, it cannot, like, one thing in the chain, if that one thing gets demolished in the chain, then the whole chain falls apart. And the whole chain in this case is the whole world's economy. So now countries are really focusing on national investment. And if you have China investing in all parts of the world, they're obviously doing it for their own reasons, but you need to protect yourself against that as well. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise it can lead to like coronavirus times 10 in the future. You never know.
Yeah, for sure. There already was like a trend in terms of nationalism, and like if you want to talk about like populism as well. So
no, not in terms of like political ideology, but like in terms of economy.
But that trend was already like beginning to brew. I think it's all.
Yeah.
But I feel like even with that, like if you give the example of like Iraq and Afghanistan, the countries were doing well. They had oil, then America just come along, bomb it, and then they're finished basically. So that point about being self-sustainable can work, but it depends if other countries, if they like what you're doing, they'll just come and take it and just like make a reason for justifying their advances.
Well, look, at the end of the day, right? Like I was talking to my friend. He was like, "Look, Jubba, like this, the world governments. We as citizens, we're like pawns in the game. We're really nothing. Like the world governments, the top of the head of the world governments. They don't care about us. Like at the end of the day, they're just playing a real life game of Game of Thrones. It's just about who's at the top. Do you know what I mean? You got America versus China, and then you got Russia, and then you got the smaller players like Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, and then you got the smaller players like, you know, all of these smaller emerging market countries, and then you got like India trying to, like, you know, it's literally a Game of Thrones, man. They don't care. They just want power. Like, if power is the most, like, it gets people drunk. Do you know what I mean? Like, people need it, and especially if you're the head of your country, then you need to get your country to the top, because otherwise the people in your country are gonna not like you because you're not doing the best for the country. That's why, even though the rest of the world doesn't really like Vladimir Putin, like they think he has obviously allies in Syria and China and you know what, but like in the Western world we see him in a negative light. But the Russian people love him.
But the thing that's crazy,
he backs his country. That's why. That's what we talked about last episode. Like the vision, they want to give a certain narrative about anyone that fits what they want.
Specifically on that point, it's not even just in Russia; it's surrounding countries as well. Say, Latvia, Lithuania. There was someone that I met at uni, and we were having a discussion in one of my classes about that incident that happened in Salisbury.
Yeah, poison.
The poisoning incident.
The agent that got poisoned got.
Yeah, for sure.
What even happened to that? Like, what was the outcome?
Yeah, so let me give some context. The class was one of my lecturers. He works for public health. He's like a consultant on like emergency situations, and he was giving his opinion on how the UK handled that situation and how obviously he was giving the UK point of view for that specific instance, which clearly aligns with the news and the media and like everything that we know. But there was a girl in my class, and she's from Lithuania. I think it was Lithuania. I may be wrong. Yeah. It begins with an L. It's either Lithuania or Latvia. Yeah. One of those two. And she gave a very good point in that the opinion that we have towards that is based on the fact that we're not able to understand Russian and we're not able to get the viewpoint of the Russian media and the other side of the story. And obviously, she fair to her, she can understand both languages. She may have her own biases as well because her mother tongue is Russian, and I think she has an inkling towards Russia as well. But her understanding of the whole situation was different to us, just based on the fact that she can speak in the language and she's able to make the decision well more informed than we can, based on the fact that she can speak the language.
It's crazy. That really like opens up your perspective there, because like the whole Black Lives Matter thing. It really has like exposed the colonialism that was in the, like, everyone knew that the UK and America took slaves, right? But it really exposed the fact that, look, even in the UK and in America, we are being indoctrinated whether we like it or not. We're not taught the right things. We're not taught about the horrible history of our countries.
In schools,
and like we can act like we have freedom of thought and freedom of speech. But at the end of the day, we're just regurgitating what we're fed from the economy and from our education system. And so we're being like taught things that necessarily aren't true. It's just positive in the point of view from the UK economy. So like everyone's living in a delusion.
Tell a vision. That's all they want to do.
Exactly.
Television.
Exactly.
Just
everyone's living in a delusion
from the comments.
Yo.
We've got Shadab writing, thing that I realised on a personal level, I actually don't know anyone or not seen or experienced first person of anyone. There's a lot of anyone's in this sentence. Anyone that has had the virus. What are your thoughts on that? And then we've got Mehdi saying, where's Mr. Hassan Rahman? And then someone called Nuhan saying, Hassan made me come here. And then Shafi, I believe that's Hassan's brother, wrote, at Hassan. And then OP wrote, yo lit in this chat.
Let's get it. We're building up a following chat.
Every time I come back, brown egg be preaching.
Brown egg be preaching. I'm from a preaching family.
In the genes.
But yeah, on coronavirus, like I would say, like I've known people that have had the virus, and yeah, it is bad. Especially from last week, we talked about how I was a key worker. I was working as a support worker while studying part time, and yeah, my experience with coronavirus is probably different from non-key workers in that
you've seen it first right?
You're forced to still go out, and you'll be exposed a lot more to maybe the realities that you wouldn't see if you weren't working. So yeah, stay indoors. Well, follow government regulations.
There's like loads of conspiracies now, right?
They're a bit off.
There's loads of conspiracies right now, right, about how coronavirus wasn't as bad as people thought it was at the beginning.
That's something. Yeah.
Like me and my mum went for a walk yesterday, right? And as soon as I left the house, it was so weird. This man just came up to me and just started talking to me about coronavirus.
Really?
Never met this man in my life. he was like, yeah, do you know what? If it was like sunny today, there'd be a lot more people on the street. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And we just started walking. My mum was behind me. We just started walking, talking. I was talking to this guy, and he was telling me like he does like gas and electric at people's houses and in care homes. And he was telling me he went to a lot of the care homes in the south, right? Like Portsmouth, Southampton, and all these places. Fareham, I don't know. And he said to me, not in one care home did I see a coronavirus case. Because I said to him, oh, maybe it's because the care homes in Portsmouth weren't doing it. He was like, no, I've been to care homes all over the south, and not one care home has a case of coronavirus. And then he was like, oh, like I'm a firm believer in the fact that coronavirus isn't really that bad, and that the government are just trying to scare the people. But the point I would say to that, right, is that like people who say that, you can never really know the right answer. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You'll never truly know. Because at the end of the day, I think the fact that people are saying that is actually a good thing. Because you don't want it to be the case where there's a lot of deaths. Like, obviously, there was a lot of deaths, don't get me wrong. But it could have been a much, much worse. Yeah. And, like, the fact that it wasn't 500,000 deaths is actually a really good thing. So the fact that people are even questioning that, I think, is a positive sign. But you never know. Like, they could have really made it worse than it seemed like.
Yeah, but just to put it out there, the problem with having, like, anecdotal sort of evidence is he has his perspective. And then I wasn't going to say, but I think it is important. One of my colleagues Though while I was working in care homes, well, 2 colleagues caught the coronavirus.
Yeah.
They were being cured for a long time. One of them passed away because of the coronavirus. The other one, I don't know what happened to her.
How old was he? Was she?
He was in his 50s.
Damn.
From Nigeria as well. So
yeah, that's the issue, right?
Like, the thing with anecdotal evidence, you'll have different sides and different things that will conflict against each other, and that's why you can't rely on just anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence is important, but you can't just rely on that alone. You know?
Yeah, I agree, like 100%. Like people need to see the bigger picture of what's happening in the country, and just because you don't see it with your eyes doesn't mean it's not happening. Like
there you go. That's it.
It's the truth.
You can believe things that you can't see.
Yeah. But it's the thing is though, like people, like I said to that guy, like even if it was like a lot less deaths than we had now, it's still a death. Do you know what I mean? We look at these numbers like statistics, but you know, at the end of the day, man, each statistic is actually
like one death, it's a death still.
I mean, look, the fact that it could have been a lot better. We could have closed the country a lot earlier. We could have been like New Zealand.
Yeah.
Close the country up a lot earlier. Make sure there's no one coming in. We would have literally had like hundreds of deaths, not thousands. You know what I mean? So, you know, the government has to be held accountable for what they did.
After I think the first week when it started getting really bad, things were still open here. I was still in London. I was playing football. I was walking around like life was usual. And then like one day, boom, lockdown. So they could have done this a long time ago.
There was like a Liverpool game.
Yeah.
There was like football games on.
Yeah. That was actually a solid game.
But it's really messed up, man. Because like the cases like that is like, you know, like big gatherings like that have literally increased the number of deaths.
And they were from Spain as well. And Spain, I think, had an outbreak then, didn't they? If I remember, was it Italy and Spain? Madrid was in lockdown. Yeah, Madrid was in lockdown, isn't it? And they still allowed fans to come over and mingle with Liverpudlians.
Yeah, I think with that as well, people usually bring up the case of Sweden and what they've done in terms of not having a lockdown. And this week, I wanted to try and get an update on how the country is doing with the coronavirus.
Work,
From what I see, it hasn't particularly worked. What they've said is that they expected more people to have what's it called? The stuff in your body that fights against the virus. Going back to biology.
Antibodies.
Antibodies, that's it. They were expecting more, a higher prevalence of antibodies.
Like herd immunity.
Exactly. Based on they're betting on herd immunity. And currently, it doesn't seem like that's working. The number of antibodies in the population isn't what they would expect it to be. So it seems like the only solution that we have outside of lockdown is a vaccine. And
for sure.
Another thing with that is, if we do have a vaccine, people are proposing, or the government is saying, that BAME population should.
I saw that. I was like, damn, the government. What are they trying to inject us with, man?
That goes into a whole other thing about people's beliefs about vaccinations, and whether they would actually take the vaccination. You know,
fuck that, bruv. I'm the first to take a vaccination. I have no, like, you know, I don't care as long as it saves a life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you have to give it to the older population first because they're the most at risk.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then obviously, like, you filter it down to the people who are less and less risk. But back to Sweden, though, the thing is, I thought that it would have worked because the economy would be like working. But it actually turns out that it didn't work because the economy is having the same downturn as other economies that had lockdown in the first place.
Is that back due to the globalization sort of scenario?
No, it's because of the fact that even though they didn't really do lockdown, people still wasn't spending as much, and in Sweden, like, the economy wasn't really running as usual.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's a globalization thing as well.
Yeah,
and so now they're in a really bad situation.
So trade couldn't come in to Sweden or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's horrible for them because now, like, no, the UK's got this traffic light system. So if you're a green country, you can come into the UK with no quarantine. So countries like that, Italy and Spain, which are green. But now you got countries like Sweden and Portugal. Sweden is in red, yeah, because my brother lives in Sweden. So when he comes into the country, he wants to come back home. He hasn't visited home in like months. But he doesn't know if he should come in because he doesn't want to be at home for 2 weeks because, you know, that's a big commitment, especially when you're a busy person. So, you know, it's not looking good for Sweden at all. And do you know what the messed up thing is? The scientific evidence regarding antibodies wasn't sound. We don't know if that works. Like, just because you have antibodies doesn't mean you're not going to die from the vaccine. There's still a chance you can. So just because you have antibodies, die from the virus. Sorry, yeah. You know, there's not sound evidence to show that it actually protects you. So, you know, they took a big risk and it looked like it didn't pay off. Yeah, I remember. I think like a Swedish epidemiologist was talking about how the difference between the UK and Sweden's policy is that the whole idea of flattening the curve in the UK, whereas in Sweden it was a case of allowing the natural curve. So the old people will most of the old people will die, unfortunately, and then because the case is that everyone will eventually come into contact with the virus. So it's just a case about riding the wave and then getting past that. So it seems, and getting past that through herd immunity, and it seems that isn't happening. So yeah, difficult situation in Sweden. But also, it may be a little bit too early to tell. It is so early. Yeah. Because the fact that we had this lockdown, I read this article, right? And you can have lockdown, you can get everyone back home, you can close all the borders, but that doesn't mean the coronavirus is gone. When it all does open back up, then all you did is you didn't stop it, you just paused it. Wait. It doesn't mean the coronavirus is gone. So what do you mean by that?
It's still spread, like it's still alive.
Like you just put a pause button on it. Like the coronavirus is still in the air, people still have it. So as soon as lockdown finishes and people start traveling again, there's going to be more waves coming up, without a doubt. Yeah, if we were to do like a thought experiment, I agree with what you're saying. The coronavirus will still be around because there are still key workers, essential workers that do have to go around, and then that's how the virus spreads. But if, say, every single person was to be in a forced quarantine, that could essentially mean that the virus will no longer be there. Surely, would that work? No, but the thing is, would it work as in like realistically? It's just a thought experiment. No, but I know what you're saying, but once the coronavirus has disappeared, you still need to stay in quarantine. So if you get out of quarantine too early, there will be asymptomatic people that still have it and that can spread. But I mean, stay in quarantine long enough. So how
stay for like 2 months, like every single
the duration of that'll work. Yeah, but we're not doing that. That's the issue. We're not doing that. Yeah, we're getting out of lockdown too early. Like New Zealand, like fretted about the UK people that travelled there because unfortunately they had a parent that passed away, so they travelled there and they had coronavirus, so they spread it in New Zealand, and they were like really fretting over whether it was spreading in New Zealand again because they completely got rid of it at 0 cases. I think it's looking okay now, but it comes back to the situation. People won't want to have a vaccine, but that looks like the only realistic solution. I think the majority of people would have a vaccine. The majority of people will, but there will still be people that don't. So is it? Look, Dan, do you know what? I have a strong opinion on this though. If you don't choose to have a vaccine, then I think you're a bit selfish because you're not just risking your life; you're risking other people's lives. Yeah, because if you don't have a vaccine, you get it and you spread it. Like that's all on you, bro. That's not on anyone else. Like people need to take like personal responsibility when they say that stuff. And the fact that people think vaccines don't work, people who think that are completely deluded. They work. I think so. I think one of the arguments, because I obviously have to deal with this with it being in public health, or studying public health, I should say, is that the main
it's not a case of them not working. It's a case about them being harmful. People propose them as being healthy. But on the other side, people say that one of the main things that they cause, which is false, is that it causes autism. That's something that people still believe.
That's a huge rumor. That's not true.
Yeah,
right?
it's not. It's the scientific study that said that initially, the biggest one has been proven wrong, false. But other things like vaccines cause like side effects and cause other harmful things. There's loads of, going back again to anecdotal evidence, cases of people who have taken the vaccine, had a horrible reaction to it, and died because of the vaccine. And then people use those cases and raise them up to high profiles, and that aids to like an anti-vaxxer movement.
That's the thing. You need to look at the aggregate, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's a case of the right to choose whether people should have the right to choose whether they are vaccinated or not. And I can't see a way where in the future for things to go completely back to normal with this virus, where you can't build your own immunity to it. From what it looks like, where people aren't forced to be vaccinated to go back to normal lives, which is quite like dark. No, not dark, but it's like it's unsettling.
So you believe people need, like, it should be a requirement of everyone?
I'm saying that's where I see things going. That it will be a mandatory requirement for you to be vaccinated.
How did they do it 100 years ago when there was like the Spanish flu and stuff? What, did they create like a vaccine?
The virus runs its course.
I think a lot more people died from the Spanish flu than they said, because it would have been quite difficult to get everyone.
Sure.
Yeah. Even coronavirus, though, there's a lot more people that died from coronavirus 100%. Indirectly, because a lot more than we think, because they said it on the news, and it fully makes sense, because if you have other diseases, the hospital tells you to not come in because they don't want you contracting coronavirus. So people with other diseases that can't get treatment for things like cancer, like leukemia, then they don't get that treatment, and then a lot of people die from their current diseases, which they may not have died from if the coronavirus wasn't here. So the actual number to look at is actually the excess deaths, because that's actually a lot higher, and
that's very difficult to measure as well. So it's a case of how we can fully get an idea of the devastation that coronavirus has caused in terms of mortality. It's difficult to gauge, but the reality is that it has had a massive effect on lives.
That's true, yeah. And I think just to wrap things up, I have one final comment that I think we should read out, and then we should go from here.
Is Shadab's in the chat?
It is Shadab. I don't know how you guessed that, but he wrote...
I guess by your smile, because you're like...
I had to smile earlier because I read the comment. He wrote, Shad's Udin versus Jubba Ahmed boxing fight coming soon. I think we should just get our predictions in quick.
Jeez! Wait, hold on. Thing is, I don't want to damage his pretty face of mine, so I don't know if it's a good idea.
I'm going for if it's a 6-round.
Like, I ain't trying to fuck with Shad. Look, I'm gonna hold my hands up. I ain't trying to fuck with Shad.
I'll go for round.
I have nothing against the man.
Round 2.
All I'm gonna say is I'll pay good money to see this.
We should make that happen.
Let's make it happen.
I say we have a grappling match instead. I'm down for grappling match.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Perfect. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed episode
Dan, what are you trying to say? Dan, what are you trying to say?
Dan,
what are you trying to say?
Always at it. Dan, any final
comments? What are you trying to say about it?
What are you trying to say? What? Wait, what did you say, Tarek?
Did you want to say anything? Because I was going to wrap up. It looked like you had one last dig to say at Jubba.
One last dig? Nah. Yeah, it's calm. We'll leave it at that. We'll do the close off.
I want to knock on your door. I want to knock on your door in 10 minutes, Dan. See what?
All right. Thank you all for watching. Peace. Hey, Jubba, I had a question though, actually, mate. Hope this thing had ended. Yeah, the stream's finished. Hey, 46 playback.